Hello everybody! So today I have decided spontaneously to start the period series. I've been wanting to do this for ages and I haven't ever got around to do it. I'm very sloppy right now. I don't know what got into me to want to do it today, but I thought we're going to do it today. So I am currently cycle day 1, and today I wanted to talk about how I am feeling, and I do believe the new moon was just a few days ago. I have in the past followed the moon in my cycles, but the past few cycles I've been a bit behind. Yeah, today is cycle day 1, and I think the reason why I decided to whip out the camera is because this has been such an intense cycle, and I feel like the reason why it could be is just because it's just an overall very intense time, not only in my life, but I feel like in a lot of people's lives right now. A lot is going on. We've got some crazy energies going on right now. At the moment, there are a lot of floods in Germany and a lot of fires in the more Mediterranean hot places in Europe. So I feel like this is definitely a time where things are just a little bit crazy, and I'm just feeling it. So what I've done today so far is just kind of my typical things. I have tried to keep it easy as much as possible. I showed you guys this Code Red book a very long time ago. It was almost more than a year ago, or no, not quite a year ago actually. In a forest in Spain, I made a video about a book called Code Red, which is all about embracing the different stages of your cycle, and I feel like that book is extremely helpful. But I do now, after a year after having had read it, I feel like it has unrealistic expectations about your period day, especially if you are a mom or you have a full-on full-time job, or you're just a really busy person. You just can't just say, I'm gonna call in because I have my period today. That's what she really recommends, is just totally having a spiritual healing day. Going into your red tent is sometimes not always realistic. And what I have found is I definitely no longer exercise on this day. If I do any exercise at all, it's yoga. Other than that, as a mom, there's not really much you can do. Today is a Thursday. My period started pretty much first thing. I got up literally at 8 o'clock. I got up today. My cycles have always been really regular. I haven't had much painful periods. I have struggled with emotional triggers. And when it comes to my cycle, I have a lot of hormonal problems when it comes to that week before my period and the first few days of my period. Things are pretty out of whack. So I finally wanted to I feel like starting this series is going to help me kind of stick to trying to create a more holistic practice. Stupid flies are driving me nuts. I don't know if you can see them everywhere. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what I'm doing today and talk to you guys a little bit about this phase of the cycle. So what this phase of our cycle represents is the shedding of the old to bring forth the new. These flies are crazy. It is a time for rest. It is also symbolically linked to the winter phase of the Earth. You know how Gaia has phases. At least in a lot of hemispheres, we have winter. There's winter, spring, summer, and fall. This part of our cycle represents winter, which is the sleepy and deeply spiritual side of our life, and also represents death. So I can see why this isn't most women's favorite time of the cycle, but I do still prefer it to Crazy Wild Woman, which happens to us in the fall. So I do enjoy this part of my cycle usually a little bit more than I have now. This cycle, it feels as though I still got a little bit of Crazy Wild Woman in me from PMS time. It's funny, I don't really feel this big sense of release. I feel like this time I'm releasing not only what's been building up the past cycle, but I feel like I'm also just releasing absolutely everything that has been irritating me my entire life, is what feels like what's going on right now. And I feel like I'm just having a huge shed, and I wouldn't say the bleeding's particularly heavier, but maybe a little bit maybe it's starting a little bit stronger than it did, for instance, last cycle. And every cycle is different. Last night I actually did do a yoni egg practice. This is kind of a little bit out there maybe for some of you, but this is the jade crystal egg, and it is meant to be placed in your yoni, also known as your vagina. And you can do Kegel exercises with this to help tone up the vaginal walls, but it's also got properties in the jade, which is supposed to be very healing to your reproductive system. And I'm gonna admit, I've had this for a long time and I haven't really used it all that much, because I think a lot of us can admit that like our reproductive health is not something that's constantly on our minds. And also we just have a lot of other worries going on. Like we don't always remember to put in our yoni egg. It's actually something that you can walk around with like all day. I don't. I typically just do like spiritual practices and meditate with this from time to time. And I did do one last night with the egg, and it was a very intense one. There was a lot of crying. I feel like there's just a lot of releasing going on right now, and just telling you guys the energies are crazy. So I purchased this. I'll go ahead and link the website below, because she offers like really, like, you know, you're gonna get the real deal jade with this lady. She's all about yoni empowerment and embracing female sexuality. I love her YouTube videos. And I wanted to share also what I use. I personally am a big fan of letting it flow. I don't like tampons, and I don't really like moon cups. I don't really like the menstrual cups either. So I just let it all come out into a pad, and I typically use these ones. They are organic and they don't have any formaldehydes or anything weird in them. And I have considered trying period panties as well as cotton pads, like washable ones. But this has just been what I've bought them in bulk actually, and these just work really well for me. These will be a little bit, organic ones tend to be a little bit less absorbent than the ones with like those absorbent gels and stuff. But this one says that it's got the absorbency like 5 drops. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 drops. So like that's for heavy, and I just use these throughout the entire cycle. Probably, and I would say that I probably go through, I change them quite a bit because I don't like them to be drenched or full, and they never really do with me. But as you can see, I would say these are about the equivalent to a medium-sized regular pad on the market. I just change them whenever I feel like I need to, but I would say I have medium flow periods. I used to have very light flow periods before having my kids, but since having my kids, it has gotten a little bit heavier, but my gynecologist has said that that's quite common after having kids, so nothing to worry about. What I do on this day is I typically drink, where is it? Oh, I left it over there. I don't have it with me, it's over there, but I typically drink red raspberry leaf tea, which I've been drinking all day in replacement of water. Like basically it is water, but it's infused with red raspberry leaf tea. So instead of when I'm thirsty going to get a cup of water, I pour myself a big cup of red raspberry leaf tea, and that just hydrates me, and it's also really good for your uterus. I used it in preparation for childbirth, and I swear by that herb, I love it, and it helps so much with the easing of the cramps. It's also good to curl up with a book, but today, to be quite honest, I've been so irritable, I haven't had the concentration to actually sit and read. I've literally now just started watching some YouTube videos of like some of my favorite people, because I'm in just that kind of mood where I just feel like I need to kind of disconnect, because it's been so spiritually intense for me this time around, but part of me feels like I shouldn't fight it at the same time. So let's go ahead and announce the next book club book that I finally am going to announce after like months and months and months. It is Creative Visualization. Now, a lot of you guys have seen all the major shifts that have been going on in my life. I've moved house. I've got suddenly a lot of clients for my business. Things are just kind of crazy. And I feel like I have used a lot of these tools that were mentioned in this book. Now, I have already read quite a bit of it. Like, I've kind of skimmed it and done some of the exercises. But I would love to talk to you guys about this book. We're going to make this the book club for August. And it's basically it's very similar to the law of attraction. It's a lot about meditating, praying, whatever you want to call it, and visualizing what it is you want to happen in great detail, but doing it so in a mindful and positive way, and also readjusting and rewiring your thinking patterns in order to make things really manifest. Because if you're doing it from a place of greed or anger, things tend to not go very well, or from jealousy, things tend not to manifest very well. So I think that this is a really great book. It's really not very big. You could probably, if you have the time, you could probably read it in like a weekend. Yeah, it's like not even 200 pages. So maybe even one setting if you think it's really interesting. So if you guys want to, maybe in the next phase of my cycle, which there will be a video up on what I call the manly phase of the female menstrual cycle, we will talk about it then when I'm in a better mood. So I hope that this video was helpful in some way or another. It is just past the new moon, and I'd say the vast majority of women run under, it depends, because we are kind of in an epidemic of women having fertility issues and reproductive issues, and that's part of why I've started this series, because I do think it's important that we talk about our reproductive health, we get open about our cycles, we start trying to come up with some alternative ways of healing, because clearly modern medicine doesn't seem to have any other suggestions apart from taking parts out. So I think it's a good idea that we start speaking up and working together as women to get things moving and grooving in the right way down there. So plus I'm a doula, I love everything about the woman reproductive system. I think it's very fascinating, and it's sometimes very frustrating, but at the same time it's just really just fascinates me at the end of the day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part of the series. This is how I'm feeling this period go around. If you guys would like me to do these weekly, I could try to keep them up, but as you guys know, my life is pretty crazy, but I will be doing it for an entire cycle, and then we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go rest now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what phase you're currently in right now. Like I said, typically a lot of women go by the new moon being the period and the full moon being the ovulation, but I do actually have a friend of mine who's the other way around, and she's like a very intense kind of person. So I think that's probably why she tends to have her period around the full moon and she ovulates around the new moon, which I think is quite fascinating. And like new moon and full moon are usually the times of which things go on, like the big stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Let me know what phase you're in, and I will see you guys next time. And I'm sending you guys lots of love, and eat lots of chocolate if you are on your period. That's what I'm doing. I make sweet potato brownies as well, which are delicious. So talk to you guys soon.